Hey guys, how are you? Thank you for clicking onto my video, and I just want to say please subscribe. Let's say the subscription numbers up, and please share my video. I'm just trying to spread a little bit of knowledge, I gather something, I share with everyone. This is interesting, and as the title says, the so-called Hoteps, which is sort of a demeaning term in a way that African Americans like to use to refer to those people that try to associate themselves with Egyptian history as an black African history. The Hoteps, or people that tend to love Africa, they call them the Hoteps. But one thing I've realized that I've looked into these so-called Hoteps, I've done my own research, and the more you dig into it, you just find out that these people, they've been right on a lot of issues, on a lot of, about 90% of the thing, and that's a great percentage. They've been right on a lot of things. The evidence is all around us, but the thing is, the other guys try to take the little evidence that they have and manipulate it and make bigger evidence. And we have bigger evidence, but because we've been brainwashed, we don't even try to expose the evidence that we had to change the narrative of not just African history, but black history, not African American history, not African history, not Caribbean history, just black history. Because at the end of the day, African American, African in Latin America, Africans in the Caribbean, African Canadians, they all came from Africa. So once we fix that history, there's something that's important about knowing your history. It makes you a better person. I've had so many people who, growing up, be it in London, in America, where they believed in the fake interpretation of history, or the fake history that has been created. So black people didn't create nothing. Black people don't have a history. And these kids end up thinking they are nobodies, and they do crazy stuff. But when they find out, some of them in their adult days or years, when they find out the true history, their behavior changes. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Knowing your history is very, very important. I was recently just skipping through the videos. One thing I found interesting, and I'm going to put this video in my description below. Please watch it. It's called 5 Brits Take a DNA Test. There's 2 girls, I think 3 guys. The girls are white. The 2 guys are white, and 1 guy is black, And before the DNA results, everyone describes everything. The black guy says his dad is Wesley Snipes black. He's Jamaican, but he's Wesley Snipes black. He's black. His mother is a little bit light-skinned, right? And one of the things, when it comes to the results, everyone gets their results. Now, listen to the black guy. The black guy's result shows that he's related to Ramses the Third. Did you guys hear just that? Is related to an Egyptian pharaoh, Ramses. I want you to think about that. He's black. And the most important thing that I like about this is when they do a DNA test, because they said his mom was light-skinned, they find out he's got 2% European from his mom's side. He said his dad was Wesley Snipes black. When the guy gives the DNA test of his relationship to Ramses, he specifically said from your dad's side. The dad's side, who is Wesley Snipes black, that is where his linkage to Ramses is. This is evident because I've heard so many times when they've done a DNA test on some of these mummies, they all claim out to be white, but there's always a white guy who was part of the team who says, nah, that's not true. They didn't use the right DNA. That always comes out. And there's a battle to claim about who the Egyptians were. The truth is, Egypt got invaded many times. That's why from being Kemet to being Egypt, so many people invaded it. The Hittites, the Romans, the Greeks, the English, the French in the later stages. All these people left their DNA. They left their mark in there. But what the Hoteps say, the so-called Hoteps, or most of these Africans, they say it's the ancient Egyptians, the ancient, especially from Dynasty 1 to Dynasty 9, they were black. King Nama, you look him up. Even when they did, there's one of my mentors, one of them is called Robin Walker and Anton Browder. I listen to a lot of people. Anton Browder obviously is more focused on Egypt. He's an American actually, Dr. Anton Browder. And then there's Robin Walker. He's an English guy. He's a black British guy. He calls himself the African history man. That's what they call him. This guy knows his stuff. And what I like about him is that he travels through all these places in Africa and he has pictures that he himself took. And he's got so much knowledge. It's unbelievable. Please look him up. He's got one book called When We Ruled. He even talks about when they found, I think it was Pharaoh Sneferu, when they found the tomb of his wife. They found the mummy of his wife and they did a DNA test. British archaeologist. And it was clear to them that she was a Negro woman. But then when they reported, they didn't say that. And that's what happens with these things, guys. Please check out the book called When We Ruled. It's written by Robin Walker. Please, I encourage everyone to read that book. See, knowing our history is very, very important. Knowing our history, guys, is very important. It's fundamental. It's as important as breathing. If we don't know it, it affects us for the rest of our lives. But once we start knowing who we are, where we come from, the journey ahead becomes very clear. But if we don't know, then we are in trouble. Why do you think other races fight so hard to get us out of history, as if we didn't have history? Recently, there's a Dutch painter who painted, from his investigation, who painted Akhenaten in Nefertiti, which is Nefertari. There was no Titi in ancient Egyptian language. It's actually Nefertari. When he painted them, when once I have time, I'll post this on my community, or I'll even remake this video when I start spending a bit more time when I'm making my videos. And I'll post all these paintings. If you look it up, you say Dutch painter Nefertiti. You look it up. He paints them black. Akhenaten black. And you can see Akhenaten is black. But they like to say, oh no, he had a disease. Can you believe that? That's why his lips are big. He had a disease, apparently. He's black. The bust of Nefertari that is quite popular, it's fake. It's actually fake. One of the guys who makes fake stuff, we even sold the British Museum a fake bust from Egypt for millions of dollars, even says it, that it's fake. There's no way. The only part where you will find a lot of statues and things in Egypt, they've lost their nose, they've been badly damaged. But that one is left the face and only damaged a little bit on the ears. It's fake. It doesn't make sense. There's so many. Even this is not me. This is an expert who gave this. I'll find out his name once and I'll post this on my community, so that you guys can have a look at it. You look up his painting, but then listen to what happened. Just a few weeks later, after his paintings, they came out and talked about this DNA that proves that they were white. If there is no fight between wanting to use history to take it away from Africa. If you don't think these guys are not trying to do that, think again. Because they do believe the importance of history. I'll tell you another person they like to change his change it into white is Hannibal. Now, I didn't even know this myself. But when you look at Hannibal, where they say that his parents came from, they say his dad came from, I think it was like the Yemen area, right? And his mother was African. Now, me, I thought the people in Yemen were like, you know how you see Arabs, like even like Jews or stuff like that? Guys, Google the people of Yemen. When I saw that, I want to go to Yemen, actually. I know there's a lot of stuff going on there that's just terrible what's happening. But I would like to go there one day. Because when I saw, just Google the people of Yemen. You think you're looking at pictures in Africa. Right now there's famine going on there and all sorts of things. You'll think you're looking at the kids in Africa. I couldn't believe it. But then it makes you think people can walk from Ethiopia to Saudi Arabia. People can walk from Somalia to Saudi Arabia. And there's no real roads there. It just looks like there's paths that have been there maybe for thousands of years. It's not very far from Africa. Yemen, I wouldn't be surprised if sometime back was part of Africa. You know, you look this up, guys. But then they find the coin. Africa wasn't even digging at this place. Where Hannibal crossed from Africa into Italy, into the Roman territory, where he crossed that. When they were digging up, the archaeologists digging up that area, they found a coin. One side was pure black man, Hannibal, and on the other side, it was an Indian elephant. The Indian elephants have small ears, and you see that on that coin. But you know what they tried to decide? Oh, it was just maybe like a priest, or something like that. Same thing at Carthage. They found all these bones and coffins of high, like important people in society who were Negro. But they'll tell you, Carthage was a European sort of a city. It's what I'm saying, guys. We need our history. You look at the history of the Ghana, from where Ghana gets its name from. Where Ghana is today, that's where Northeast Kingdom was. It was around like Mauritania or somewhere like that. The Ghana was the title of the king. You know, they found a place recently, it's called Kumbi. Google it, see the pictures. You know, this place was buried in the desert. That's why there's true archaeologists right now working things out in West Africa, digging up and finding all sorts of stuff. That's why they're saying now, every time we kick a stone in Africa, we have to rewrite history. But the downside to that I've seen as from us black people is that we don't even want to learn our own history. We've been so mentally confused that learning our history scares the hell out of us. Because everyone thinks, oh, it's slavery. We were nothing. That's not true. Absolutely not true. And this is why, as a black person, you gotta learn your history. I watched a video recently where the queen mother of the Ashanti people, she was talking about where her people came from. You know what she said? Without China, she said our people came from Egypt. And then she went through the path they took to get to where they are. And when you look at that DNA test this guy did, he's 97% whatever Nigerian. And she goes, some of our people settled in Nigeria and then we came down till they got to Ghana. It's sort of if anything, the Ashanti is not even the real name. I think it's the Ashanti. It became Ashanti because white people couldn't pronounce it properly. That's what's the Queen's mother. African history, most of it is passed on verbally, or what you call from generation to generation. So she knows exactly what she's talking about. She didn't have to say any of that. That's why in 1975, if you look at the natural history, the book called The Natural History of Africa, written by UNESCO, Sheikh Anta Diop and another African linguist took on 18 people, Arabs and Europeans, two African guys. This is why knowing our history and knowledge, getting the knowledge is very important. Took on these people to prove that the ancient Egyptians were black. And one thing that Sheikh Anta Diop used was to go and scrape the skin off some of these ancient mummies and then do an analysis to find out how much melanin was in their skin. Melanin is our mark, guys. And Sheikh used it to prove a point. And guess what? When you read that book, when you read this debate, those guys killed those 18. In the end, they say, oh, who cares what color the Egyptians were? We're all people anyway. Let's just forget about it. They killed them, obliterated them, literally. The linguist also proves it. I've never seen an Arab called Tutu, but when you go to Africa, you'll find a lot of Kafre. Things change, the names change. You might find Kefra, Kufu, Kofa, or Kuf. You find all these names in Africa. The king of the Ashanti right now is called Tutu. Tutu the second, or Tutu the first. Where else is called Tutu? How does it start? Tut Ankh Amun. You find these names are there. When they want to know how the ancient Egyptians lived, they don't go to the modern day Egyptian, the Arabs. They go to the Nubians. And you will find that these people still live very, very, some of the things have continued from thousands and thousands of years. They still perform them today. The Nubians, not the current Arabs. I want you guys to understand that. Knowing our history is very, very important. And someone out there is thinking about eradicating our history day in, day out. And we are out here trying to argue among each other, wasting the time. One of the things that has even affected Africa is history that we get taught in schools. It messes with our minds. So as a result, it depresses us. It changes the thinking in our brains about ourselves. It kills our confidence. And that's not a coincidence. Nothing in this world is due to coincidence. Everything is planned. I saw a video of one of the mentors, again, I listened to, called the Wall Street Trapper. And he did this interview. And the guy that was interviewing him was a white guy. And he said, I tell people that the next Elon Musk is going to come from one of these, from the ghetto. Unfortunately, that might not happen because they don't have the confidence. Why do you think these kids don't have the confidence? Because of the world they live in. Like Chancellor Williams said, when he was growing up, all he saw was black people always starving, black people always at the bottom. Over 100 years ago, Marcus Garvey said the same thing. My daughter, who is 12 years old, playing with his friends, a black kid was given an opportunity to be the leader or something in this game they were playing. I think it was at school. And my daughter comes up to me. The kid seemed to be so happy that this is a kid. It's probably like 11 years old. Oh, the black man is in charge now. 11 years old. How the hell does he know? And now, for the first time, a black man in charge. How the hell does he know that a black man is never in charge? At 11 years old. And then we're going to ask ourselves the question. That kid continues believing that a black man is never in charge. Does that build up his confidence? No, guys, it doesn't. And that explains where we are. I saw Dr. Mensah, who helped us today to be able to send all these large, pictures or whatever through on your email and all these things. Fiber optics. The technology was there, but the ability to use that to send large quantities of information or even pictures wasn't there. It was this man, a Ghanaian man, who was at MIT, who they called to go and help out, and he fixed the problem. He's written a book called Great Things Come in Black Too, or something like that. And he's invented a lot of things in America. I heard him recently saying how he was talking to the president of Congo, President Tshisekedi, and he told him that he is designed a fast-speed train to move from Kinshasa to the port. We can call it the Lumumba Express. We can do it. We need our confidence, but the way we get our confidence is by learning our history and knowing who we truly are, guys. Just remember that there's someone out there fighting day in, day out. The same way there's someone fighting day in, day out to take that money you just made away from you, there's someone fighting to keep us out of the world history. And they fight hard. We need to fight the hardest to get rid of them. Guys, in this world, sometimes I wonder if it's right or wrong. Sometimes I think there's only two things. It's about loving something and then doing whatever you can to protect that thing that you love. If it means killing someone, you have to do it to protect what you love. Do you understand that? There not might be love, evil and good. It just depends on what we are trying to protect. And I think as black people, we need to start fighting and protecting our history, because that is very, very important. Thank you, guys. Thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe and share. Goodbye.